in the way of an exhibitionist for the ECW brand in the first few months of the ECW brand, really helping that, giving the fans a bit of a reprieve from all the action ECW was throwing at you consistently in the way of Extreme Rules matches and stuff. And in an interesting interview she did for a written column, she alluded to the fact that she wasn't exactly the best dancer that WWE could have hired, so she made the decision to become an in-ring competitor, and it took her years to develop her skills. She was one of the most highly improved divas of 2007, 2008, and here, so far into her career, she has definitely been, illustrated how much she has learned. Her move arsenal has definitely expanded. She came back with a lot of momentum, and hopefully will continue to ride on that wave of momentum she's been on since she made her return for the first time a couple of weeks ago on Raw. We haven't seen her consistently featured on Raw since her return, but hopefully this is a sign of good things and prosperous things to come for Kelly Kelly. I was one who really reviewed her in somewhat of a negative way, because really a lot of stuff she was doing in the first year and a half of her career were negative things. I mean, it didn't seem like Kelly Kelly had a positive future at all. On the WWE, you had radio show hosts, columnists, other wrestling talents, a part of the business, like Ken Boland, who was one guy who really stood out in my mind for reviewing Kelly Kelly as a diva, who he didn't believe would last 6 weeks in the wrestling industry. She sure showed him, along with a number of other critics who really jumped over the fact that Kelly Kelly was representing the Divas division as one of the top divas. And, I was much like her in the way that I wasn't expecting her to come back a couple of weeks ago on Raw. Now, I did read rumors of Kelly Kelly's return prior to the 1000th edition of Raw. The plan originally was to bring her back as part of the 1000th edition of Raw, but they held off, and she came back in about a 10-minute long match with Eve on Raw, which was a considerable amount of time to give to a Divas match, and both herself and Eve got the return of Kelly Kelly over in typical Eve and Kelly Kelly fashion. I've enjoyed the feud between Kelly Kelly and Eve, and if you want to continue doing the Kelly Kelly Eve feud, I think that would be a very effective way to bring Kelly Kelly back. It would allow her to gain momentum as a potential challenger in the very near future to Layla's Divas Championship. I would love to see a friend go up against a friend. The last match, if you can remember, with Kelly Kelly involved in it, was a tag team match where she teamed with Layla for the first time since the Extreme Expose days, and I think it would be great to have a friend versus a friend, a babyface versus a babyface for the Divas Championship, because the element of competition would really be influenced in all this. You don't necessarily need to have Kelly Kelly turn heel or Layla turn heel. Nobody has to be a heel in this, because there's enough history between Layla and Kelly Kelly to have this feud go off successfully, with both of them being baby faces. I think they have gained a tremendous amount of experience, with Layla being the Divas champion and Kelly Kelly being the challenger. I think that with all the experience they've gained over the last 6 years, being in their 6th year with the company, both respectively, a total of 12 years of experience, I think this makes for a great Divas Championship program that could last anywhere from 3 to 4 months if you do it right. And right now, I don't think there's anybody else more eligible to be in a feud other than Eve or Layla with Kelly Kelly, because I think both those divas have a talent to get things over and be put over girls in the best way they know how. And I think it's great. I think Eve did a tremendous job promoting the fact Kelly Kelly was back, and I think they're really hinting towards a Layla-Kelly Kelly feud over the Divas Championship, and I'm really looking forward to that feud being a long-term feud between two babyfaces, because I really think that's what the Divas division needs to showcase what their talent and what they're really all about. Because I really don't think they're given enough opportunity, and that's one thing that I've alluded to more than often here on our radio shows, the fact that I believe that divas especially aren't given the amount of time they need to showcase what they're able to do in the way of talent, ability, cutting promos, being involved in storylines with other talents. More than often we see divas involved in storylines with male talents. I would love to see more lengthy storylines involving divas, kind of like how TNA Wrestling are distributing their Knockouts division right now. I think that the TNA Knockouts division has more detailed storylines and more lengthy programs, and I really wish the Divas division in the WWE would be taken in that kind of direction, similar to how TNA is distributing their Knockouts division and has been distributing it over the last number of years. I think that's the advantage that the TNA Knockouts division has over the WWE Divas division, is the fact that they have more detailed storylines and greater talent. I think that TNA's Knockouts division is far more superior to the WWE Divas division, not only in the way of charisma and talent, but also they've got the beauty factor and a number of other issues, contributing to it being the far more superior women's division. And if you want a superior women's division other than TNA, you're going to have to go to the independents and look at something like Shimmer, who have a fantastic array of talent that they've been distributing over the last number of years and will continue to do so in years to come, like 2013 and 2014. I think that with Kelly coming back, it allows the WWE Divas division to begin, heading in a more positive direction, a better direction than it was headed in about 2007, when you didn't really have a lot of hope and faith in talents like Kelly and Layla. You had hope and faith in the talents that could wrestle, like Beth Phoenix and Trish Stratus coming in making occasional appearances. You were really promoting the Divas division on a feud that wasn't a long-term feud and was just being done for special events between Trish and Beth Phoenix, a match that probably should have happened back in 2004 when Trish Stratus was a part of the active roster on Monday Night Raw. You can't always rely on Trish Stratus to come in and have a match once a year at WrestleMania against a talent like Beth Phoenix, like you're relying on legends to come in and have WrestleMania main events against up-and-coming stars like Randy Orton and John Cena. I think that, now with Kelly back and looking better than she ever has looked, which is something that you don't really necessarily hear me say all that often, I think it's great. I think you can afford to give her a second run as a Divas champion, even if you have to put off original plans that you initially had to go with for the Divas division, even if you have to put off pushing somebody else for the Divas championship other than Kelly. I think that, having Kelly have a second run with the Divas Championship would be a tremendous follow-up to her losing the championship this past October, and would allow her to remain with the company for several years. There are a lot of rumors going around that Kelly could be potentially leaving the wrestling industry because of a bit of frustration with the way WWE have been treating her character. There's a big rumor going around that she has deals outside of the wrestling industry going for her. The management company of Kelly have been hinting towards deals with reality television, deals with things having nothing to do with professional wrestling, and that's been really influencing and enticing Kelly to give it all away. And especially with the video interviews that she's been recently doing for wrestling news websites, hinting at the fact that she might not have a future of certainty with the WWE, and with the fact that she's not being pushed as a contender for the Divas Championship over the last several months, really, contributing to the fact that this rumor could be somewhat of a legitimate thing. You're really led in the direction of believing that this could be it for Kelly over the next couple of months. A lot of people are giving her 4 to 6 months, and she will be given a full release from WWE. Here's how we stand. She was given a partial release with the company to make up her mind as to what she wanted to do. She made the decision to come back. It was kind of just thrown at her way to come back as part of the, I believe, 1003rd edition of Monday Night Raw. She wasn't expecting to return, and it took her completely off guard. She comes out and has a 10-minute long match with Eve, which was a considerable amount of time given to a Divas match. That's more time given to a Divas match than we have seen in the last probably 4 to 6 months. For a while there, after losing the Divas Championship, she was part of a lot of tag matches on Superstars, and she was a part of these 4-on-4, 5-on-5, 6-on-6 Divas tag team matches where a lot of talents were given equal distribution. They didn't really have anything consistent for Kelly to do. They continued to push her as their top diva for the few months after she dropped the title to Beth Phoenix after 4 incredible matches for the Divas Championship, and then they killed the push and removed her off television to allow her to make up her mind as to what she wanted to do. And I believe that Kelly has really made up her mind as to what she wants to do, and I think she's going to remain with the company. I think this is just the beginning for Kelly and her WWE career, and you don't really necessarily hear me say that all that often. I know that I've been somewhat of a negative reviewer of Kelly. I haven't had that many positive things to say about Kelly in the direction of her career, and I wasn't exactly the biggest Kelly fan, because I don't believe that she's a Trish Stratus or a Lita by any means. They are far ahead of her in the way of experience and legendary status in the wrestling industry. You take Trish Stratus contributing 7 years and doing double the amount of what Kelly did in just 6 years. I think that, she's not even in the league of a Trish Stratus or Lita. She's been given the chance to work with talents like Trish Stratus, and it's beyond me why. Maybe because they're hinting to the fact that she's eventually going to amount to what Trish has done, but I, for one, do not believe that's what's going to happen. She's not in the league of them, but she's definitely one of the best they have right now. And with the lack of divas in the WWE Divas division right now, and with Karma being given a full release from WWE, it seems like Kelly is back now to pick up the slack where Karma's left behind her, because WWE were anticipating Karma's return, and they were hinting towards Karma's reappearance on WWE. I didn't necessarily agree with the fact she comes in, decimates the entire Divas division, and then she leaves for a year to give birth. They made acknowledgement of her pregnancy, which I was happy for. her for revealing, because she could have covered it up and just disappeared for a year and everybody wouldn't have known what happened to her. But with Karma now leaving a lot of slack for WWE to pick up, and Kelly especially seemingly being the one to pick up the slack that Karma left behind her after running through the entire Divas division, I really am proud for Kelly. I think there are a lot of positive things that will come for Kelly in the next couple of months. Now, I know I've been a critic of Kelly, and I've apologized for that a lot of time. But, there were a lot of times when you really didn't have all that much positive things to say about someone like Kelly, because a lot of things she was doing, especially in 2006, 2007, were things that not only myself didn't agree with. You didn't really have a place to say anything positive about Kelly, and if you supported Kelly in the first 2 years of her career, it was because simply you were just a Kelly fan who refused to look at the flaws that Kelly was distributing and were part of and contributing to over the first 2 years. I mean, really all she did in the first 2 years was, dance and be a put-over girl to someone who was being pushed for the Divas Championship, and that necessarily wasn't the best way or most effective way to market someone like Kelly. What you should have been doing is, giving her momentum from the time you brought her in as part of the Raw brand, right up until she eventually had the chance to challenge for the Divas Championship. I think that would have been a more effective way to push Kelly in her earlier years. But it was because of a lack of understanding of what needed to be done inside of the ring to promote a character, to promote a wrestling match, or a program, or anything of that nature, that really made people review Kelly in a negative way. And for me, what it was, just to clarify it for you, after the thousands of video blogs and written columns you've heard me talk about Kelly on or write about Kelly for, just to clarify,